killed when she was 14.
What would you like Congress to do?
I would like for them to give all the victims transparency to what happened and release these files. It's also not only for the victims, but for the American people.
Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie leading the effort. They got enough support from other members of Congress to begin debate on a bill that would force the DOJ to release the files. A do-not-drink order still in effect for Williams Bay a week later as the village continues using chlorine to clear high levels of nitrite out of the service lines. Founder of Water Quality Investigations, Andrew Jack, says it's up to homeowners to flush all their water lines so the chlorine can circulate.
The utility can do its part to bring that ammonia down to an acceptable level so nitrification is minimized. But they cannot go into your home and flush your plumbing. They cannot clean your aerators. They cannot chemically clean your water softeners. They cannot flush your piping. That's something that you have to do.
Bottled water distribution will continue at Williams Bay School District from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Wisconsin State Senator Dora Drake making a push for more affordable health care and lower living costs for the state's black community, while also highlighting Milwaukee's financial impact on Wisconsin. She calls Milwaukee the state's economic engine. On WTMJ's Point Taken.
The question really becomes, look, if you benefit Milwaukee, you benefit the whole state. And I think that really ties into the message that the caucus is trying to get out, too. The issues that black folks deal with, truly, if you address them, you uplift everybody.
The Wisconsin Legislative Black Caucus listening tour will stop in Milwaukee on October 2nd. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 67 points. NASDAQ up 251. S&P 500 up 36. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
Hey, surprise! Colders is extending their Labor Day sale for one more week. WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you missed out over Labor Day weekend, now's your chance to shop their guaranteed best deals and extra savings store-wide. Save big on everything you need for your home. Furnitures, appliances, mattresses. Only for a limited time at Colders. Save 60% on furnitures and mattresses. Then take an additional 10% off. Wow. Use code WEEKEND10 at checkout in-store or online to save an extra 10% on sofas, sectionals, dining tables, bedroom sets, mattresses, and more. Shopping for appliances? For a limited time, only during Colders' extended Labor Day weekend sale, save an extra 5% on kitchen and laundry appliances from all your favorite brands. Use code WEEKEND5 at checkout. Discover Colders' better selection, better experience, best value guaranteed during the extended Labor Day weekend sale before it's gone. Check it out at one of their 4 convenient locations or shop online at Colders.com.
Step up to quality furniture. Get more for your money at Colders.
Les Miserables, still the world's most popular musical. Experience the breathtaking production that leaves both audiences and critics awestruck. Les Miserables. October 28th through November 2nd at the Marcus Performing Arts Center. Tickets at marcuscenter.org.
Keep the comfort in and the weather out with beautiful new windows and doors from Siding Unlimited. For ideas, go to our Siding Unlimited Instagram page. For a free estimate and honest price guarantee, go to sidingunlimited.com.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers continue their series with the Phillies tonight. Milwaukee lost 10-8 to open the set on Monday. Wisconsin football team could be without a signal caller this week. Badgers coach Luke Fickell said Tuesday quarterback Billy Edwards Jr. is unlikely to play Saturday against Middle Tennessee. Elliott left Wisconsin's season-opening win in the second quarter. Danny O'Neal completed 12 of 19 passes for 120 yards and a touchdown in relief of Edwards. Badgers Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more. Packers kick off their season this weekend, hosting the Lions Sunday at Lambeau. It's the first time Green Bay's opening this season at home since 2018. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-94 east at the ramp from 175 south. Right shoulder there was blocked due to a crash. It looks like that has been cleared off. Center lane blocked due to a disabled vehicle. I-41 north at Mayfair Road. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Showers likely today, cool and breezy, high of 70, mostly cloudy tonight, gradual clearing, overnight lows 47 lakeside, 43 inland, mostly sunny tomorrow, increasing cloudiness and a chance of overnight showers, high 65. Partly cloudy, cool and windy Friday with a high 63, and then a sunny weekend ahead. Sunshine both Saturday and Sunday, and highs both days 64. That's the temperature in Madison right now, 63 in Green Bay, 66 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Listen, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo! You bet it's hump day, and we're going to celebrate that till the end of time because I think it's important that we sort of launch into the rest of our week. I know it's a
the
short...
rest of our week. Didn't we just start the week?
Yes, well, because of that holiday. Here's the interesting question that someone posed to me. Is it hump day when you didn't work on Monday?
No.
Oh, so it's not really hump day. So we may
There's
have to,
no hump day on a 4-day week.
we may have to revisit it tomorrow.
Would that be the biggest loss if we ended up actually ever going to a 4-day work week?
The Monday show?
No, the loss of hump day.
Well, I wouldn't give it up. I mean,
If we went to a 4-day work week,
yeah,
would you give up Mondays or Fridays?
I'd give up Friday. Well, what do you mean give up? Take Friday or
which
Monday?
one would you rather
I would
have,
rather have Friday
the
off.
norm be no longer work on?
Yeah, I would actually, I'm rethinking now as I talk. I like the Friday show so much that I probably would take Monday off. Although I like the Monday show too. Well, what would you do?
I don't know.
That's a tough one.
I mean, I think everything just shifts around, and then you get 2 Saturdays, right?
Yeah, we could just move Matt Smith to Tuesday and solve all the problems.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyway, she's Chris and I'm Steve. Point taken on this sort of hump day, even though we had a shortened week. You could not be in Milwaukee if you paid attention to the news. And you and I were talking about this earlier. Not a lot of people paid attention to the news this weekend. That's my anecdotal assumption about how most people were outside, going to festivals like I did, or going up north, which I also did. You were at a wedding. We weren't necessarily tuned into what was happening on the streets of Milwaukee, or in America for that matter, what's happening on the streets. And in Milwaukee, the big story, which we sort of started to pay attention to, I did, Monday afternoon and evening, was these street takeovers, where young individuals primarily, I don't know the exact ages, but they look younger when I saw the videos, basically take over corners, intersections, and do whatever the hell they want.
It's like Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Except the cars don't look as nice.
No. Well, a couple of them looked okay. And there was a lot of these
The cars in
things.
Fast and Furious are another level.
There was 15 calls, according to Milwaukee police, for these street takeovers on the 30th and 31st of the weekend. And police said they arrested 3 people, towed some vehicles, 26 citations, which doesn't seem like a lot because there was hundreds of people at least. I think there was one down here on Water in Wisconsin, right? Or somewhere close to that intersection. And as I'm thinking about this, and you actually posed this question to me, is this new?
Well, it's not new. Currently, it's been going on. I was reading, so the Police Executive Research Forum, they posted an article about this in December, and they said street takeovers are a national problem, and they have police chiefs from Sacramento, from Nashville, from all over Charlotte, talking about this happening in their cities too. So I think this is also, this version of it is tied to social media and being able to record what's happening, seeing it happening in other places, organizing it in your city. I don't think the idea of young people screwing around in their cars is new or unique to urban settings, right?
No, drag racing, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
like I as someone who is married to someone who grew up in Muskego/Palmyra, who talks about racing down Highway 100 or doing donuts in parking lots and stuff. Granted, everything in an urban setting becomes a little bit more or a lot more dangerous because it is more concentrated by definition.
I grew up with guys who would rig up their taillights so they could turn them off so if they want to disappear and then people couldn't see, like the police couldn't chase them, or at least made it harder for police to chase them. We had drag racing, all that stuff.
So to a certain extent, no, it's not new, but and it's not unique to Milwaukee right now.
No.
But it does sound like there's some, I know there's conversations right now as far as what can the Common Council do without approval from the state as far as increasing citations. How would those citations be enforced? Because if there's just a $500 fine for anyone who's involved, you can track all those down. So then all of a sudden you just throw them away because you're like, this doesn't
Right.
matter anyways.
What do you think they represent? What are the people who are participating in them? What are they saying to all of us out there? I
mean, I don't want to speak for them, but if I had to guess, I don't know if there's a message to it. I think it's just boredom. It's just something to do on a Saturday night.
Yeah, ripping around with your car and screaming and yelling.
I think so. I don't think it's. I mean, did you ever do any? I know you were a rule follower.
I am
as
a
far
rule
as
follower,
but as far as being in high school and finding things to do, what did you guys do?
Probably got a case of beer and went somewhere and drank it.
And drove.
Yeah.
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 And so I don't know if there's like a message behind it. I think it's just
You don't see it as an escalation of how would we describe this? Civil unrest, civil disobedience, saying
like as a reaction to the politics of stuff that's happening.
Just saying a reaction to police or public safety, or you're not going to tell us what to do. Maybe that's what it is, really. Any young person, they all know that.
How different is this from when they would just like take over Water Street, and then obviously then the changes happened on Water Street where you couldn't park your car there, and the street shut down on Saturday nights, and so that wasn't a corner. But it was a lot of people who were not even going into any of the bars or restaurants that are down there and just, collecting on the street and hanging out on the street. And so is that a street takeover? Is that just meet here at this time and we're going to hang out?
Given that you and I probably are not going to participate in the street takeover, and we are both whites of different generations and different genders, let's take it this way after the break. What should we do about this? Because there's a lot of commentary, including... I heard it yesterday, I think on our airwaves. Maybe bring in the National Guard to quiet things down. I'm not saying that. Someone else said that. Is that an appropriate response? And as we sort of open this up, what you think about, should we bring the National Guard? Because that's on the president's mind. He said it yesterday. He said he's going into Chicago and Baltimore, those two cities he named. He didn't say anything about Milwaukee. And you pointed out to me this morning, one of our congressmen actually surprised me a little bit. Scott Fitzgerald said, not really a fan of that idea.
Yeah, which actually did kind of surprise me as far as in the priorities of urban settings and issues that they're facing. He did not think Milwaukee rose to the level of needing the National Guard here.
I'll close with this text because it's sort of what we're talking about. Oh, please, did they call in the National Guard when Travolta was racing Grease Lightning? What about Pony Boy asking for the military is pathetic? Get a grip. All right, let's have the conversation. Do you think it's appropriate? What should the reaction be to these street takeovers? We live, work, or play in Milwaukee. Curious what you think about the current situation on the ground here in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin's biggest city of Milwaukee. You're listening to Point Taken, Chris and Steve on 620 WTMJ.
I'm here to help. This is your WTMJ Fix-It Show host, David Nason, with expert advice for our listeners. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, or cracks in your basement, it's time to call my trusted friends at Accurate Basement Repair. And you know what? You'll get a free expert evaluation on me. You just tell them David Nason, the Fix-It guy, told me to call. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. And again, that's Accurate Basement Repair, 414-744-6900 or accuratebasementrepair.com.
There's a problem if your lawyer is famous for one phone call and a quick settlement. It weakens your position in a negotiation. Another problem is due diligence. That's what trial lawyers conduct when preparing a case. Things like lost wages, lifetime medical costs, and other variables that can't be considered in a quick settlement. In fact, one call and a quick settlement is exactly what the other side wants. Instead, call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. Visit Habish.com to find out more.
Beautiful and safe. Decks built to last by Outdoor Living Unlimited, Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech deck installation team. For amazing ideas, go to our Outdoor Living Unlimited Instagram page. For a free estimate, go to OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns. Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Ridgetop Exteriors and Cornerstone Development. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. At 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Thanks for tuning in on this Hump Day edition. Kristin C. Point taken. So, as the president was talking yesterday, I did watch his press conference because I just want to see if he's alive. And he's alive. And he looks remarkably the same as
he is
did.
alive.
Yeah, he looked the same as last week, sort of. Maybe a little less tan, but seemed like he's been spending more time in than outs, maybe. I don't know what the story is there. And frankly, it's become just a nuisance and boring to talk about. Whatever it is, we'll find out eventually. We always do. And then we'll know. But right now, it's just speculation. Anyway, street takeovers in Milwaukee. One of the things that has been talked about is potentially, it was alluded to that maybe perhaps we'll see some measures taking place that are typically not Milwaukee police measures, but maybe some other agency. And I'm talking about the calling of the National Guard.
So what's interesting with this is the Milwaukee Police Association president, at least to the Journal Sentinel, said he is considering sending a letter to the president or to the White House requesting the National Guard in assistance following a series of street takeovers Labor Day weekend. You probably know more about this than I do. What weight does that carry for a Milwaukee Police Association president versus the police chief? Like, he obviously represents a union. He represents the police officers. But as far as what role does he have in the actual policing and the way that the police department is functioning inside of the city?
Well, if you're talking about the
president, yeah,
he's an active detective, I believe, with the Milwaukee Police Department, and for a long time, like 20 plus years. So
I'm just saying, like, it's one thing for him to send it. Obviously, he has some power. He's the president of the,
Alex,
of the union.
I think it's how
and
you say
so,
his
but
name.
as far as is him doing this, if he does send a letter, does that go over Jeffrey Norman's head?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
it feels a little like what is the chain of command here?
No, that's a confrontational relationship. I don't think that's I'm not going to speak for them.
Yeah,
that's my sort of assessment that there's confrontation there. I'm not a huge fan of Chief Norman. I think he's
really?
I don't think he's been a great communicator. I think he plays a lot of word salad games when he's talking about crime in Milwaukee. He shows up. I'll give him that. I don't think he's necessarily been an effective leader, but on the other side of that argument, some of the numbers are down. So you have to give him credit for that. He is the chief. On this one, though, this is a really interesting question because it's more than Milwaukee. It's big cities in America. And you and I were talking this morning before the show. It's not the same example because D.C., the president has a right to call in a National Guard. That's an expressed written right that he has. He doesn't have that same power with states.
Which we're just finding out with L.A., right? As far as that was...
Yeah, there's a lawsuit, I think today or yesterday, by the governor towards the president for use of National Guard troops in Los Angeles. And is the jury still out on how effective that was? I don't know. In L.A., who knows? And I do think it's sort of interesting that Muriel Bowser, has sort of, I don't know, green-lighted the idea, but she seems open to the idea. But again, she's playing politics, right?
Well, and that's the thing that I think is interesting. So it's like, is her decision to be cooperative and work in coordination with the White House on the National Guard being in D.C., is that a sign of, hey, this is working and this is good for the city? Or is this a sign of it is better to be a partner and be seen as cooperative with this White House when we're all living and working in the same city than to be an adversary? And so obviously she's decided for now it is easier, better to go along to get along. Obviously that could play out very differently for a city that voted 92% Democrat in the last election. How that works out for her is her reelection. And I think that's the same thing every mayor or every Democratic governor is also thinking about. Is like, how much do you cooperate and how much do you work together to solve real problems, and how much do you look like a fighter who is standing up to this administration, not only because you think it's the right thing to do, but also because your electorate may hold you accountable if you don't.
Yeah, I think she's doing that. She's playing the ladder. She's playing the politics game. I think she's being a good elected leader. She's working with her higher-ups, the administration that sort of has dictated what's going to happen in Washington, D.C. I caution people that put a lot of stock in the numbers, like right now. We're this instant society. We have to know right now, is it crime down? These things take time to process. months, if not years, to determine what happens when it comes to crime, what types of crime, violent crime versus, street crime, theft, whatever. It takes time to sort that out. If it has an impact, then perhaps it's a message that says, all right, maybe we're doing law enforcement, policing, maybe a little bit wrong. Maybe we're not looking at it in the right way. That's a potential, but we don't know that. There's also risk, and I brought this up with you a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about, I think, the rollout in D.C. If something happens between citizens and National Guard that escalates to a very violent confrontation, that's when it gets really ugly, really crazy, really fast. And that's the danger. And we've had episodes of that throughout our nation's history, and you don't have to look any farther than Kent State. That it can go bad quick. That becomes what might be a positive for the Trump administration. Hey, look, we're bringing down crime. It all of a sudden becomes a very ugly overstepping of that authority of the White House. That's sort of the risk for the president. But right now, we don't know. And if you see cooperation in D.C., it doesn't mean we're going to have cooperation here or in Chicago or Baltimore, because that's not how that works. And I'd be shocked as hell if Governor Tony Evers or Governor Pritzker in Illinois ever agree, because I saw Pritzker's press conference yesterday. He's not buying into this. And whether Trump, he said yesterday in his press conference, he's sending them. Now, he's doing it under the guise of ICE. That's also a little nuance here.
So it's different than what the guise was for Los Angeles.
Yes, so it's slightly different. And apparently, with that sort of deviation from the plan, he can do some things. That's a sort of an interesting twist. Whether we'll see that here, I just read an email from somebody yesterday that said we may be seeing that here, sort of that immigration twist on that presence. Perhaps. That's why this stuff is fascinating. Bottom line is, and this is just the old man in me, I don't want to see anybody get hurt in these street takeovers, because somebody got whacked by one of the cars. You don't want to see anyone get hurt. I understand this idea that you want to step out and have fun, and whether it's the modern version of drag racing, we can argue about that if you want. I just don't want someone to be innocently killed in the act of doing whatever the hell you're doing.
Yeah, of course. I'm not defending that these are good or smart things to do. I'm just thinking they're not new, and I think they're more representative of young people doing stupid things, which they've always been doing.
Yeah. That's the sort of the standard bearer for young people.
That not developed not fully developed frontal lobe.
Work in progress happening in the gray matter. All right, we'll take a quick break here on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
When we're out in your town, come say hi as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be.
You can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
News Radio 620 WTMJ.
All right, WTMJ Scaffidi for Milwaukee weight loss. Yes, I can't believe it myself. Lost 40-plus pounds on my way to 50 pounds of weight loss. One of my friends lost 100. Talked to a woman who lost 45 recently. Lots of people doing that. You can join that trend, and it's not the trendy stuff that you hear about a lot, the shots and all the gimmicky things, meals, bars, shakes. It's you, willpower. You don't have to do the crazy workouts. You just reset your own metabolism. You decide how you lose the weight. You decide how that weight comes off, and you do it pretty quickly. It's doctor-developed and natural, and it's helped thousands of people just like me and potentially you lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds. Change your life in just a month or two. Stop the yo-yo stuff. Take control of your own diet and weight loss. Smarter, faster, safer way to reach your goals. Here's what you got to do. MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com or call today. Schedule an appointment. 262-393-2334. That's 262-393-2334. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
Make your next family trip one for the history books at Old World, Wisconsin. Set against the natural beauty of the Kettle Moraine State Forest, you'll enter a one-of-a-kind place where the modern world fades away. Explore authentically restored homes, farms, stores, and workshops representing more than a century of Wisconsin history. Meet heritage farm animals, visit a one-room schoolhouse, lend a hand in the blacksmith shop, ride a high-wheel bicycle, and so much more. Travel through time and the stories of America's heartland. Get your tickets at oldworldwisconsin.wisconsinhistory.org.
I've been playing sports all my life. Little football, basketball, pickleball, cross training, mud events, Spartan races and things like that.
For Dr. Eric Williams, a successful chiropractor, staying active means everything. So when nagging knee pain slowed him down, he didn't want drugs or invasive surgery. He found a natural way to get lasting relief. QC Kinetics Cellular Therapies.
We're using my body's natural abilities to get better. And that's huge. In time, that's going to be the way of the future. Using your own body's ability to heal. Now I can play day to day and not have that severe pain.
Now he's back out there doing what he loves, thanks to QC Kinetics.
Life is good. You're not going to slow me down.
Leave the pain behind and get moving. Book your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Thanks for all the texts on our conversation about calling in the guard, potentially, and the street takeover in Milwaukee. A couple real quick ones. I disagree with Steve. Crime statistics are data-driven with the technology we have today. It's better, but it's not perfect.
But also, he says you can report on them quarterly.
Yeah.
Has it been a quarter?
No. So there's not a trend until you have some data. You can't just have 1 day or 1 week. You have to have 3 months or 6 months or a year. So I appreciate the commentary. Here's one that we get a lot, 262. Maybe we need to make punishment painful enough to deter crime. That's a common one. Maybe we need to stop putting people back on the streets as they escalate their violence. That's another one. But here's the thing, and this is a longer conversation. When you're going to say that, tough on crime, you need to have places to put these and the resources for the infrastructure to house criminals. We haven't done that. We actually avoid that.
What do you mean?
We've closed,
because
we've closed facilities.
Well, and also in our prisons are basically uninhabitable.
Yeah, and we've seen people die in them. So you have to put resources into it. Just like mental health,
well, I think
you have to put the money in.
We have a minute.
Yes.
So I'm going to pose this question.
You have less than a minute.
It is such a bigger question that we actually need probably better experts than us to answer.
Yeah.
But what is the psychology behind people who are okay spending so much money per prisoner per year? Because it's very expensive to put people in prison.
It's insane.
But are so angry about that same amount of money ever being suggested to go to things that we know prevent crime, which is basically anti-poverty initiatives. And so if that is a handout, but the same amount of money, if not more, going to house prisoners is fine.
It's a lack of depth in that argument because it's superficial. There's no depth to the argument. It's just saying something. Local news, before we get to any of that, ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Some of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are rallying to get the full Epstein files released. Liz Stein says they didn't want to be there, but they are.
As survivors, we're initiated into a sisterhood. We're in a sorority that none of us asked to join. But we all stand here today strong, stronger together because our collective voice is powerful.
Liz Stein asking Congress to push the Justice Department to put out everything it has on the sex trafficker. Russian President Vladimir Putin continuing his visit to Beijing as Russia launches 500 drones and missiles toward Ukraine overnight. U.S. employers posting 7.2 million job vacancies in July. The labor market actually cooling as we head toward the fall. Healthcare, social assistance companies, and retailers were some of the biggest sectors to cut job openings. The Dow was down 132 points this hour. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Connie Weber. A former corrections supervisor in Racine, 40-year-old Jacqueline Height, was sentenced to 18 months in prison after pleading no contest to having an inappropriate sexual relationship with an inmate at the Racine Correctional Institution in 2022. Height also pled guilty to providing the inmate with a cell phone containing photos and messages of their multiple encounters over the span of several months. Prosecutors dismissed 17 other felony sexual assault charges. Milwaukee police investigating a murder that happened downtown Tuesday night. A 62-year-old victim suffered blunt force trauma injuries and died at the scene. Happened around 9 p.m. near 6th and Clybourne. Police still searching for suspects. Milwaukee Art Museum has tapped Kim Sayet as its new director. Sayet's arrival follows the departure of Marcel Podlednik, who stepped down this summer after 9 years at the helm. Sayet previously led the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery. She resigned earlier this year after criticism from President Trump over her diversity efforts. Sayet begins with the Milwaukee Art Museum September 22nd. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 111 points at 45,183. The Nasdaq up 169 at 21,448. S&P 500 up 18 at 6,433. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. On 94 West at the ramp from St. Paul Avenue, right lane there is blocked due to a crash. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Showers likely today, a high of 70. Should clear up tonight with overnight lows 47 to 43. Sunny, increasing cloudiness tomorrow. Chance of overnight showers, a high 65. Partly cloudy, cool and windy on Friday, 63. Then sunshine Saturday and Sunday with highs both days around 64. 64 in Madison, Green Bay 63, Milwaukee 66 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1033.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Patrick and Monica initially chose a bank to get pre-approved and provide financing for the purchase of their first home. But they were getting a bad feeling when a week after their offer was accepted, the bank still hadn't locked in their rate, nor had the appraisal been ordered. Monica shared her concerns with a friend who happened to be a multi-time Accunet client. That led to Monica connecting with one of our senior loan consultants the same day, and after gathering some information and reviewing options, we locked in their rate right then and there with loan costs $3,600 lower than what the bank had quoted. The appraisal was ordered right away too, and the loan closed on time just 3 weeks later. We also noticed an oversight in the contract that led to a $3,000 credit from the seller. You can get a generic pre-approval and average or worse service from a bank, or you can get the kind of fast service, advice, attention to detail, and savings that made Monica and Patrick Accunet's latest raving fans. All you got to do to get started is click on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
Oh, it's fake hump day because we had a 4-day work week, but who cares? I declared hump day regardless if we had 4 or 5 work days.
Someone on the text line suggested that if we went to a 4-day work week, to have Wednesday off.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like because I feel like Wednesday would then become the new chore errand day.
I guess.
You know what I mean? And then you could actually just enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, as someone who's closer to retirement than you'll be even thinking about it a long time.
Let's be honest, I'll never actually retire.
Are you just going to work forever? Yeah.
I'll probably have to.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
I'm not getting Social Security.
Maybe you'll hit it big on one of the big networks.
Or maybe Mike will win the Powerball tonight.
Yeah, what is it, 1 point something? Yeah.
1.3 billion?
Kathy and I had this long, I know this is not what we're going to talk about, but that's sort of. We're driving back from Mercer, Wisconsin, which was lovely, great weekend, Labor Day weekend. No traffic on Sunday, which is always a smart play. Don't wait till Monday, come back Sunday. But anyway, what would we do with that money? Because I think after tax, it's like $350 million.
Would you change your name and put it under an LLC so no one knows that you want it?
I'd be talking about it everywhere.
You'd be hit up so fast.
So what?
Unlike
a lot of people, I can say no really quickly and easily.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hurt your feelings if you want me to.
I can't.
Really?
I'd be like that woman. If we won, I'd be like that woman who wore a ski mask when she was interviewed, so no one would know that it was us. Because
Wisconsin, you have to declare.
Say no. We would get that's so much of that money would get donated and spent because I can't say no.
I made my 2 daughters' day and their husbands or spouses by saying, all right, first thing, each of you get $50 million. You can do what you want with it. So right out of we carved from 350 to 250. I said, okay, we probably buy 3 or 4 properties in various places around the world that we want to live in, throughout the year when the weather's nice. What is that? I don't know, home, like $5 million each. You're still talking $200 million. It's hard to spend that kind of money.
Which is then we go back to a conversation we had earlier this year is $1 billion.
Yeah.
Billionaires should not be a thing. It's way too much money that any one person ever needs.
You can't spend it.
You can literally, the interest you make on it, like Mackenzie Scott cannot spend her money down just because the interest on the money she has. So she just cannot give it away fast enough.
Generational wealth. Yeah.
And then some.
That's a concept. All right. So I am, this because I've been obsessing on AI lately. I've been watching as much as I can watch. I've been reading books on it. I'm doing a podcast this afternoon on it with my friend Martin Moore, we're going to start talking about AI a lot more. AI has crept into everything you do, right? It's creating content.
Well, I don't know if it's crept into everything that
what
everyone
hasn't it crept
does.
into?
I think we have people who are listening to us right now who can go about their day without experiencing AI stuff.
They might not know they're being impacted by it.
That could be.
I would say the news delivery services probably are using. I know they are using it already. The networks absolutely using it. Radio stations absolutely using it. Even for news sort of writing, newspapers, perhaps, and usually not doing a good job of it. I think it's impacting a lot of us. Healthcare, right? They're now using. I just watched this last night. They're using it in diagnosis. You may never know that your doctor and his medical institution is using AI to help in the diagnosis of the things like breast cancer, because it can look at imaging 1 billion times versus a doctor looking at one thing one time and telling a woman that in 5 years that will be breast cancer and you need to do something about it. That's why people, as much as you can't do the social media thing. I don't play in that field. No, you're going to be it's going to take over everything. That's my thought. What do you think?
Oh, I certainly think it's going to take over everything. Whether we're ready for it or not, as a species and as a planet, I don't think we are. I think this is the opportunity is certainly there, but the lack of regulation around it scares me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing there. We've already talked about some of the environmental aspects of it that are coming. And I think I saw an interesting, listeners probably know, Charlie Barron's, obviously Wisconsin's darling, doesn't really wade into policy or politics very often in his videos, but he did post one last week that now has over 1 million views on Instagram and probably a lot of other platforms he posts to. But he came out and it was a pretty scathing takedown of these data centers that are coming and popping up all over the Midwest, specifically Wisconsin.
He stepped in it. He went there.
And with that, I think there became a lot more awareness of people across Wisconsin who didn't realize this was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to respond to a video on TikTok with a woman who was like, look, like the media is not covering this and talking about Port Washington and the vote that happened. And I was like, no shame to you. Like, but if you go to WPR, if you go to WTMJ, if you go to Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, like all of the local coverage, like all local news outlets have been covering this. It's just boring to read about data centers, right? So it's maybe not a headline that grabbed your attention, but don't say that the reporting's out there, because it is. But it takes sometimes someone like Charlie to bring the masses' attention to the downfalls of what this can mean when it comes to how do we power AI. And I think the environment, I know Dale's come on before on our show and kind of debunked some of the things. I think the verdict is still out on that as far as where it's going. It seems like there's a
I'm actually going to reach out to him because I want to see
there's a new report
this.
out now as far as what this is going to do to our fresh water supply. So I think there's that side of it. And I think there's also the side of it of, this week, OpenAI is saying they're putting parental controls because they had the chatbot basically was telling a kid to kill himself, right? And so there's these hallucinations. There's a lot of the actual interaction with robots that the proof that it's atrophying our brain and our ability to do critical thinking and like the process of actually having to write, having to research, having to memorize. I know that my memory is already worse just from how much content I consume but actually don't retain because it's just scrolling, right? Instead of the actual work of having to learn something and then be able to talk about it instead of how quickly I have to do it every day because we got it on the show and I got to go on the next topic. So I think that I don't disagree that it is going to infiltrate everything and the investment is there for it to infiltrate everything. I don't know if we're ready for it.
We're not ready for it.
I think there is opportunity for people to make a lot of money from it.
We will have the world's first trillionaire.
Less people that they actually have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
They can automate more things. I don't think there's any conversation around what are we going to do when unemployment rates go up because there's just jobs that don't exist anymore. What are we actually going to fund? And like more and more money is just going to bubble up into less people's hands. And there's not a real plan except maybe like an altruistic billionaire that's going to take care of everyone, but have we seen a ton of those?
Not too many examples of those. I'll give you.
So I don't know. Like I agree. Sorry, I agree that it's happening and that we should learn about it and shouldn't stick our head in the sand. But I don't know if I'm happy about it.
I think you should be both happy and concerned. I guess that's the way to put it. I'm going to give you a former local leader's perspective on why this is happening, data centers, and what the impact might be, and why, in many cases, you have the Dale Coyngers of the world, MMAC, and others, local leaders, specifically state leaders, loving the idea because it's a development home run. You're making a lot of tax revenue, but they're not, at least I don't know, maybe Dale has a different opinion on it, how much safety net there is when it comes to energy consumption, impact on local rates, water consumption.
Air pollution.
Keep in mind, this is I guess the dazzling detail. 20% of the fresh water on Earth is in our Great Lakes. It might be 25% in high water eras. 25%. A quarter of all the fresh water on Earth is in the Great Lakes. And we're going to suck out millions of gallons to cool these data centers, which are massive. And Wisconsin, I think I saw the number. We have like 40 of these things already. I didn't even know that number was that big. We have some real big ones
already
coming.
Built or planned?
Built and planned.
Okay.
So that's a startling, dazzling detail about that. Lots more to talk about on this issue. If you want to weigh in, 855-616-1620. Where's your concern level? You can't do the hands-off thing. Not going to work. It's going to impact everything from banking to healthcare to who delivers your news, all coming in your future, and that's AI. Kristin, Steve, point taken, 620 WTMJ. Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
Politics, work, daily stressors. Let's take a break from all that and get centered, Christ-centered. I'm Pastor Tim Butker. Join me each week for Christian Crusaders, a broadcast that highlights the gospel, the good news of Jesus, and our belief in the authoritative Word of God. Christ-centered, gospel-oriented, Bible-based Christian Crusaders. Please join us Sundays at 6 a.m. on WTMJ. We'd love to have you worship with us.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Hey, surprise! Kohl's is extending their Labor Day sale for one more week. WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you missed out over Labor Day weekend, now's your chance to shop their guaranteed best deals and extra savings store-wide. Save big on everything you need for your home, furnitures, appliances, mattresses. Only for a limited time at Kohl's, save 60% on furnitures and mattresses, then take an additional 10% off. Wow. Use code WEEKEND10 at checkout in-store or online to save an extra 10% on sofas, sectionals, dining tables, bedroom sets, mattresses, and more. Shopping for appliances? For a limited time, only during Kohl's extended Labor Day weekend sale, save an extra 5% on kitchen and laundry appliances from all your favorite brands. Use code WEEKEND5 at checkout. Discover Kohl's better selection, better experience, best value guaranteed during the extended Labor Day weekend sale before it's gone. Check it out at one of their 4 convenient locations or shop online at Kohl's.com.
Step up to quality furniture. Get more for your money at Kohl's.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Historic Fox & Hound's Supper Club gift cards make perfect year-round birthday, anniversary, and thank you gifts. With the buy one dinner, get one free offer, it's like getting a free gift card. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com and enjoy your free dinner.
We're talking AI, artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence. Here's a stat for you, Kristin. You like stats, factoids. Over 1/3 of U.S. executives said they plan to incorporate employees' AI skills into performance reviews or hiring criteria in the year ahead. Does not surprise me. I was watching an old Nova last night about a year old about AI. They had talked to a hiring manager. She took 48 applications and had AI analyze them. And she said she was stunned and surprised and pleased how good they were at assessing quickly, like in a few minutes, the 48 people, narrowed it down to a few. And she picked, and they said all were great candidates, and they picked the eventual person that got the job. She said it was a great choice. That's what's happening right now. So anybody that thinks it's not affecting them, it is affecting them. Even like payroll, and if you're participating in a wellness thing, all these things are already being sort of administered or overseen or handled by AI.
So the debate is not whether or not it's happening. It's happening. Do you think it's a good thing, and why?
I do, because if again, with certain cautionary tales, right? Because I don't want the tech bros controlling everything about AI, and that's where the guidelines and sort of the guardrails need to happen. That's the role of Congress, presidents, and leaders. I'm not confident that's happening, and right now they're sort of doing a hands-off thing, which I think is very dangerous, including when you talk to the Sam Altmans or all the other tech bros. They're saying, we're a little concerned, but, kind of like the freedom, because they're making oodles of money, billions and billions of dollars. But I like the fact that it sort of takes the biases out. I mean, how AI works because...
But AI, here's the thing. There's all this. There's also reports of Russian... opportunists as far as feeding AI bad information.
Sure, but it also looks at billions
it's
of
not
sources.
A critical thinking machine. It's still working off of what the information that it's given, and so it does.
It gathers
get
data
things,
points.
Yeah, so it gets things wrong.
It reads
and depending
everything.
on what it's being fed, that taints what it is. So I don't think it is, and it also starts to learn. I mean, at least what I've played around with ChatGPT, it starts to learn you.
Right,
and so it's not unbiased. And it also can be, remember not that so long ago when Elon Musk was like, oh, we took the wokeness out of Grok. And then it started going on like a Hitler Nazi
Two
tirade.
different things. You're talking about a personal conversation with a ChatGPT, a personal
With a
assistant,
chatbot.
whereas an independent review of data is unbiased because they're not talking to the person. They're just analyzing data. It just looks at billions of data points. It reads everything. It knows everything that's on the internet. That's how it assesses the decision-making point where it comes into contact with you and I. I have as many concerns as you have, but this, as we both said, this is happening. We have to have, this is, again, where Congress has to step in. They have to do something about this. They have to, for example, I've had this idea, and I shot it out yesterday. Anything that's AI generated, created, has to have a watermark or a brand on it. That should be an automatic. But I have not seen any legislation that says that.
I think the
none.
only thing is there's stuff with political campaigns.
Yeah. And maybe a movie. I've seen movies that have things at the end, or even TV shows. Some of this was, But I want to know, these videos are amazing. And you often cannot tell if it's a real person or AI generated. That's concerning to me because, as you and I have talked about, all it takes is one video in the world we live in now of a respected leader saying something completely out of character that they would never say, and people believe that, and that causes actions which could be aggressive, violent, dangerous. Then we got a bigger problem. Then we're talking about a much more serious issue. That's what bothers me. So everyone's got to step up here. But this is happening really fast, and I think we need to be aware of it. That's why I'm doing a podcast on it this afternoon. I'm fascinated by this subject. And if you're not reading about it, you should be.
Are you ever relieved that you were born in the era that you were born in?
Yes. Yes, I am. Every day. Every damn day.
You're like,
oh, that.
I won't be alive long enough to see the aftermath of this nonsense.
I'm saying that half in fun because I have grandkids who I always worry about. But yes, Yes. I benefited from a generation that got a lot of breaks.
You did.
I was just telling the story. My first rent was $150 a month. 3-bedroom, 2 of my buddies and me, $150 a month. How about that?
Wait, you each or all together?
All together.
So your rent was $50 a month?
How
Oh,
about
my
that?
God.
I think it was 1981. No, it would be before that, like 78, 79. Yeah. How about that? Can you relate?
No.
I don't think so. No. All right. Quick break. Point taken. 620 WTMJ.
Baseball is a long season. Some call it a labor.
Okay, just remember to keep breathing.
But here in Milwaukee, we call it a labor of love.
Here.
Screaming, I'm screaming, I'm screaming! Ah!
Fly ball to deep right. It is back. Soto back. Out of here!
It's the Brewers clashing with the Phillies in Milwaukee. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6. We are the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
I'm gone.
Hey, it's WTMJ Scaffidi. Advent, yes, I'm talking about it because it changed my life and it could change yours. Do something about your sleep problems. Tossing and turning, snoring, very common one. Why would you do that to your bed partner? Change that reality. Go to Advent. 30-minute visit. They'll walk through all the ideas they have. They'll ask the right questions. You'll ask your questions. They'll put you at ease. They'll do, if they need to, they'll do a simple sleep study at home in your own bed. They'll figure it out for you. Me, it was sinuses and nasal passages. Breathing triangle is what they call it. But since that moment, 5.5 years ago, I sleep through the whole night, uninterrupted. I don't snore, and I was a bad snorer. If you struggle like I used to, do something about it. What are you waiting for? Find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better. Go to adventknows.com. Simple as that. adventknows.com. Schedule an appointment today because Advent knows. I've said this a million times, but I still believe it. When you breathe well, you live better.
Fall in Milwaukee, where the air is crisp, the drinks are cold, and the good times are just heating up. Stroll Milwaukee's lakefront and explore its parks as they burst into a kaleidoscope of golds, ambers, and reds. Raise a glass at a beer garden that feels like a neighborhood block party, Milwaukee style. And just as the temps fall, Brewers baseball is turning up the heat. October dreams are made right here. This season, every color, every cheer, every sip, it all comes together in Milwaukee. Craft your perfect getaway at visitmilwaukee.org.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geiss's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield, or you can also visit their online showroom at geissdoors.com. Geiss has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geiss at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geiss. Visit them online at geissdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Where did that first hour go? Well,
So I got my first D ever in life.
Yeah.
On my fantasy football league draft last night. But
Really?
apparently, my best friend who's a football savant, he sent me a tweet that basically said, if Yahoo ESPN grades your draft an A, your team is absolutely screwed. If Yahoo ESPN grades your draft an F, you're going to win the championship. So
who's your quarterback?
we're in a 2-quarterback league, so I have Mahomes and Lamar Jackson.
Pretty good quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I don't
right?
know. I wouldn't give that a D.
So yeah, I don't know why it gave me a D, but my first D ever. But we are the NFL season is
Oh my God, so
upon
excited.
us.
So excited.
And I'm guessing you're most likely a Packers fan if you're listening to us right now. If you follow any of the coverage team from the Journal Sentinel when it comes to the Packers, so Tom Silverstein,
Which is
Dominic
brilliant,
Yates, by the way. We are having an event inside the Journal Sentinel tomorrow at the New Fashion at Fiserv. The whole Packers coverage team is going to be there. We're going to talk a little bit about what the job's like, how they divide and conquer between the four of them. Who do they write for? Do they write for the guys who are X's and O's or the, layperson when it comes to the fans? But then you're going to have an opportunity to also ask them everything you want to know about the season, Mike Parsons, the teams that are happening, but also like Tom and Pete Doherty. I mean, they've been doing this.
Are you just going as a fan or are you involved?
I'm the MC.
Oh, you're the MC.
So I get to be up there moderating and asking questions. Even
with a crappy fantasy football
Even with a crappy fantasy football team. So if you would like to come, it is a free event. All you need to do is RSVP. If you text Packers to 855-616-1620, we will send you the Eventbrite link. So that's 5 to 7 tomorrow. Steve's going to try to come.
Going to try to be there.
Yeah. Yep. So they're fun. These are really fun events. So this is like the 6th or 7th one that I've moderated, and they're always interesting.
Talking Packers, especially at this time of year, is always a lot of fun.
Very fun.
I'll be doing it on Sunday on ESPN 94.5 with my pals Gabe and the one, the only Alex Strofe. I love Alex. Good guy.
Good guy.
All right. News is next. 620 WTMJ.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Next December 2026, my wife Michelle and I are taking a Christmas trip that's been on our bucket list for more than a decade. Won't you come with us? Christmas on the Danube with Colette Tours. Beautiful river cruise to the most famous Christmas markets in Europe. December 2026 and a 2-night pre-trip extension to Prague. 6 nights on the beautiful MS Amadeus riverboat. 68 cabins, each with a great view. Stunning deck cafe, panorama bar. Will be in Vienna. The medieval castle and hillside towns of the Wachau Valley, a 200-year-old fairy tale town of Passau, Germany. John at WTMJ.com. JOHN at WTMJ.com. Send me an email. I send you the beautiful information, including pricing. Or join me at the WTMJ studios, where you can meet me and the folks from Colette on September 23rd at 6:30 downtown our studio. But you need to RSVP.
Let me show you the world. Come away with me.
John at WTMJ.com. Send me an email. I send you the info.
Bank 5-9 has a mission to make lives better. They make it a priority to give back to their customers, communities, and their employees. In fact, Bank 5-9 was just honored again by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as a top workplace. That makes 16 years in a row. Want to learn more about working with the great people at Bank 5-9? Visit bank59.com/careers. Equal Opportunity Employer, member FDIC.
In the wilderness is where our me-centered selves finally die. In the wilderness is where life in Christ is reborn and trained and refined to flourish. In the wilderness is where God shows us that He's the God who gives hope against hope, life to the dead and pardon to the guilty.
Dr. Michael Ziegler this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
Baseball is a long season. Some call it a labor.
Okay, just remember to keep breathing.
But here in Milwaukee, we call it a labor of love.
Screaming, I'm screaming, I'm screaming! Ah!
Fly ball to deep right. It is back. Soto back. Out of here!
It's the Brewers clashing with the Phillies in Milwaukee. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6 on the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
I'm gone.
11:02, we're at 66 degrees. Showers likely today with a high of 70. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. A key day in the case involving a Milwaukee County judge accused of obstructing federal agents from arresting a man in the country illegally.
Judge Hannah Dugan's legal team will be back in court today for a hearing after Judge Lynn Edelman last month ruled the federal case against her would not be dismissed based on judicial immunity. Dugan was indicted in May on charges she obstructed a federal agency and tried to help Eduardo Flores Ruiz escape the Milwaukee County courthouse in April. Dugan herself will not be required to appear in court today because she has entered a not guilty plea. Her legal team could either repeal Edelman's ruling or accept it and prepare for trial. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
After last week's school shooting in Minneapolis, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers says more needs to be done to address guns and mental health.
Parents shouldn't have to be worried about bringing their kids in and hoping they're coming home. I mean, that's just ridiculous. We have to take it seriously.
He's frustrated the state budget does not allocate more funding for mental health resources.
I'm a little disappointed in $30 million. I think it should be a little more. And if people, when they come back into session, they can take a look at that, possibly increase that for our schools.
Governor addressed the tragedy in Minnesota as students are back in schools across Wisconsin. Dozens of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse victims speaking out in Washington, D.C. as the first batch of documents related to the late sex offender have been released. ABC's Lindsay Davis spoke to Marina Lacerda, a survivor, who says she was lured into his world when she was 14.
It came to a point when I was, I'd say 16 and a half or 17. He didn't want me anymore. He was just like, "You're too old."
He said that?
He's like, you're too old. I don't want you anymore.
Lacerda also said she was lured by Epstein because she believed being in his orbit would lead to financial security. Federal appeals court stopping the Trump administration from using a wartime law to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. The court voted 2-1 to block President Trump's deportations under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The administration has used the act by claiming the Tren de Aragua gang are invading the U.S. Federal court says Google will have to share some of its search engine data with competitors, and now the tech giant is firing back. Here's ABC's Mike Dubusky.
Google now says it has concerns about sharing search data and what effect that will have on the privacy of people who use Google. The company says they're reviewing the decision closely. It's all in response to a federal court ruling, which imposed a number of remedies to Google's monopoly in the search engine market, which was determined by a judge last year.
Google expected to appeal that monopoly ruling. West Allis and Wauwatosa exploring ways to deal with rising fire department costs by merging their departments. Study they commissioned proposes a single fire chief and a streamlined command structure, response times that remain the same if not improve. McMahon & Associates consultant Mark Roloff.
Over a period of 5 years, that's a potential savings of over almost $7 million. The primary savings are in reduced administrative costs. There would be 11 fewer staff, but that is not on front line.
The West Dallas Common Council voted Tuesday to start making an implementation plan. Wauwatosa will have a hearing on the proposal next week. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is down 189 points. NASDAQ up 180. S&P 500 up 18. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time 11:05.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
wasn't doing anything different, wasn't trying to train for a marathon or compete in American Ninja Warrior, was just playing racquetball with my buddies, and that's how the injury happened.
That led to Achilles surgery and years of chronic pain for Will Burt, a patient at QC Kinetics.
There's always been tenderness and inflammation, and I had the surgery to repair the tendon, but it didn't repair my quality of life.
Desperate for relief, Will tried the natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics, and finally, the pain was gone.
The good news is it's a solution without having to go under the knife, a solution that my body can kind of regenerate and take care of itself versus surgery, pain pills, rehab, and all that goes along with that.
Patients like Will are raving over the results. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. Brewers continue their series with the Phillies tonight. Milwaukee lost 10-8 to open the set Monday. Wisconsin football team could be without a signal caller this week. Quarterback Billy Edwards Jr., unlikely to play Saturday against Middle Tennessee, left the season opening win in the second quarter. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more. Packers kick off their season this weekend. Green Bay will host the Lions Sunday at Lambeau Field. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We do have a crash. It was blocking the right lane, I-94 west at the ramp from St. Paul Avenue. It looks like that has been cleared off. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Showers likely today. Cloudy, breezy, high 70. Gradual clearing tonight with lows 47, lakeside 43, inland. Mostly sunny tomorrow, increasing cloudiness. Chance for overnight showers Thursday, high 65. Partly cloudy, cool and windy Friday, 63. Sunny weekend. Saturday and Sunday, highs both days 64. 65 in Madison, 63 in Green Bay, 66 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome back. This is the 11 o'clock hour of Point Taken, and we've kind of dabbled in talking about childcare and the childcare crisis. We talked a little bit about it when the budget was passed. Certainly, I've mentioned
my daughter's mentioned it to me,
being a young parent and what the cost is. And it is a shifting time as far as what it looks like now versus even when I was growing up.
I know it's expensive.
It is expensive. Not only is it expensive, it's also sometimes hard to find.
Yep.
You know, I know people who are, before they're even pregnant, are trying to get on waiting lists to be at the right place because we're luckier in an urban setting to have more places, but there's childcare deserts all across Wisconsin.
We should talk to an expert on this.
We should talk to an expert. So the Secretary of the DCF, Department of Child and Families, is here, Jeff Pirtle. And so I told you this at the break. When I think DCF, I don't know why I never thought childcare. Like, I think of childcare and I think of the providers. I think of in-home. I think of centers. I think of nannies. But it makes perfect sense of why DCF is intimately involved in this. But when we first were talking about having you come on, I was like, oh, yeah, they are probably pretty involved in what's going on with childcare. And so I'm so happy to have you here because you are so involved with the conversations that are happening around this. So just for people to have a refresh as far as what progress was made on childcare in this last budget, because that was kind of the red line that Tony Evers came out and said, I will not pass this if there's not money for childcare.
Yeah, and the governor declared it the year of the kid and really drew those lines around higher education, K-12, and childcare. And I think that was the first time childcare has sort of been at the big kid table as part of a conversation, and in and of itself was a huge shift in just having it on people's radars. And it goes back, I think it crystallizes during the pandemic, but really through that, we started a program called Childcare Counts, which provided direct funding to childcare providers to keep their doors open. And I remember the day the stay-at-home order was issued, we were all on a call with all the hospitals across the state. All the state agencies got together, and there was a conversation about what do we need to do to keep the hospitals going and healthcare alive. And it was about ventilators. It was about personal protective equipment. And then one of the CEOs raises their hand and says, okay, we got to talk about childcare. I got doctors and nurses. I got custodial staff and administrators. They all need to come into work in person during this crisis, and they need a safe place to send their kids. And it really crystallized this identity of what is an essential worker and how is childcare a part of that. And if you look today, it is this foundation in which everything else is built. All the other workforce opportunities really depend on childcare running. And so what we saw is in sort of the old world, we mostly regulated childcare, and there was a subsidy program, there still is, for low-income families to help afford childcare. But there's this shift to including both direct payments to help stabilize the field, and there's some great data that shows that it reduced the amount of turnover and sort of stabilized. We're starting to grow the number of providers that we have. But it's also a shift in just the focus of family affordability. Like childcare is a topic everybody talks about now. And part of it is I think there are more decision makers, more people in the media, more folks sitting at tables who have young kids in care who are living this crisis day in and day out, and people just can't afford it.
I can imagine people right now are sitting and listening saying, absolutely, what are we going to do about this? Because it affects everyone.
But there's also a lot of people who are probably listening being like, well, don't have kids if you can't afford them.
Yeah, the argument is your kid's your problem, which I'm not a fan of that argument because we share a lot of burdens and not burdens. Yeah. We share a lot of responsibilities in our country, and I think this is one of them. And it directly benefits the workforce. Is it an infrastructure problem or just a strictly money problem? What do you is it both?
It's both. I mean, there's two sort of issues we think about. The three we always talk about are access, affordability, and quality. And access is a huge issue because affordability and quality don't matter if there's nowhere to send your kid. And, we were talking about this earlier, but there is sort of a Goldilocks zone in the suburbs areas across the state where the ratio of kids to childcare slots are pretty good. You have some choices. There are a lot of providers.
Where would those areas be, if you know?
Like Tosa, Brookfield, Mequon,
okay.
Anything in that suburban ring around Milwaukee and in the rest of the state are going to have pretty good childcare ratios. In deep urban areas like Milwaukee and Madison, and in rural areas, you're going to have a lot of childcare deserts, which just means there are more kids to the number of slots than really is available. And so you have a lot of demand that is unmet in those spaces. And you don't necessarily have a lot of choices as a result.
Well, and you hear stories of people driving an hour each way just to drop their kids off so they can go to work.
A huge thing, right? And especially when people work in different areas and you're trying to figure out how am I going to do the logistics of childcare, particularly if you're an hourly worker. It's a little easier if you're working 8 to 5 and you can figure those things out. But if you're working second shift, or you're not working a standard schedule, childcare could be real hard.
In the state of Wisconsin, do you think this is a bipartisan issue?
I do think it's a bipartisan issue. And I think it's a bigger generational issue than it really is a partisan issue. And I think you see that in some of the champions who are in the legislature are both Republicans and Democrats. You got folks like Representative Jors, who is a leader in the assembly on this, and he's got young kids. Senator Quinn, who's really engaged in this issue, he's got young kids. I see more dads involved in this conversation that I think is really important. And so it's changing the demographics of who's talking about it.
So can you explain what's shifted? Because you say it's a generational gap.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, it used to be, quote unquote, affordable. This used to, where was the breakdown that this started to become the access, quality, affordability? When did we really see that shift?
I mean, I think we've seen it in our lifetime, but particularly in the last, 10 years or so. If you think about sort of the major recessions, so I used to do school stuff, and we would always look at between the 9/11 recession and the financial collapse in 2008. What you saw in the schools free and reduced price lunch numbers is they double across that decade. And then they sort of stayed at 42, 43%, kind of in the middle. Something in the world changed economically about people's sort of ability to pay and their affordability for these essential services. In the 10 years since, what we've really seen on the childcare side is this explosion in cost. It's very expensive for families. So we're talking in the Milwaukee area, the median family spending 40% of their income on housing and 30% of their income per kid on childcare. Well, that math doesn't work.
I was just going to say that's not going to work for anybody.
No. And so you create a scenario where people can't afford to have children. We talk about the challenges as a society and a workforce with declining birth rates and shifts. If I'd had kids, so my kids, my youngest started elementary school in second grade this morning in Madison. My oldest is in sixth grade. And if I'd had kids when my mom had me, my kids would be in college. I'm part of that generation that sort of had kids almost a decade later than their parents.
Same.
Right? So people have kids later. They're having fewer kids. That is not a growth strategy for both a middle class or a country. And so this is a thing that everybody should be concerned about.
Talking child care today with our guest, Jeff Pirtle. He's the DCF Secretary, Department of Children and Families in Wisconsin. Lots of great texts. We'll try to get to some of those. Great conversation for this Wednesday. I think this is an important one, and you and I have talked about this a lot off the show, so certainly if you have a thought, send it our way, 855-616-1620. Lots more after this.
It's one of the hottest topics when it comes to finance and your money, the One Big Beautiful Bill. If you haven't read it, we don't blame you. It's 900 pages with 400 just for tax provisions. Not exactly light reading. You know who has read it? Annex Wealth Management. That's where Instant Insight webinars come in. They're designed to provide clarity for today's hot topics. Get up to speed fast. Check out the full Instant Insight schedule at annexwealth.com/events. Unbiased advice from a fee-only fiduciary. Find out more at annexwealth.com.
Paying you to live more comfortably. A deal you do not want to pass up. Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. They will insulate your walls from the exterior. No disruption inside your home. Blow in loose fiberglass in the attic, plus air seal everything. Most homeowners feeling a difference within 24 to 48 hours. And with government rebates, you could save 40 to 60% or more. No work for you to do. USA Insulation will process everything. Visit usainsulation.net. Start saving today.
USA Insulation.
Shop smarter with Higher Love Cannabis Company in Menominee, Michigan, just a few seconds across the Wisconsin border. Award-winning, organically grown, quality products you can trust. Don't settle for knockoffs in Wisconsin. Get the real deal at findhigherlove.com/CBD.
Start your journey now. Don't wait. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation to lose up to 1 pound of fat per day. No drugs, no injections, no exercise. It's safe, fast, and costs a fraction of those injections. Book your free consultation at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Ridgetop Exteriors and Cornerstone Development. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. Get at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. He is Steve Scaffidi, and we are talking to DCF Secretary Jeff Pirtle about child care and the child care crisis in Wisconsin, but also across the country. We're not alone in trying to work out the shifting economics of having young children. So as far, like we said, there was some money allocated in this last budget.
Mm-hmm.
I would say universally, folks who work in childcare said that is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
That will not actually get us to the end of this biennial budget.
Yep.
And so more work has to be done. What are some of the straightforward solutions, and what are some more creative solutions that are getting talked about as potential, like either alleviating it or solving it?
Yeah, and I think the three big things that we see in this conversation are these direct provider payments, and a lot of states are doing just like Wisconsin did. We're doing it in the first year of the budget, and that is going to go away in the second year of the budget, and that's going to be a real challenge for folks. I think that you will see that crystallize in a public conversation, what it means when that's not there. And I think, the next legislature is going to have to decide kind of where do we chart the course on that.
Because what that means when you say crystallize, centers are going to close, right? The access is going to go down because places are going to be like, we can't afford to stay open.
Yes, and there is a lot of churn in childcare. About 25% of our centers and providers turn over every year, which is a challenge. But I think the bigger piece that you're going to see is, yes, closures, but also price increases that people already can't afford to make that work. And so what you're going to, I think, see in the future of this conversation is, what are the direct provider payments? How do we stabilize the field? It's super important in rural areas in particular where there's not a lot of access. And then how do we deal with family affordability? And I think there's two pieces there. If you look at states like New Mexico, they build on a strategy that, and again, this gets back to the bipartisan pieces. So the governor really proposed and championed these direct payments. What we saw in the previous budget was Republican leaders increased eligibility for the Wisconsin Shares Program and built a process to sort of avoid the benefit cliff, sort of smooth the curve as you came out of the program. What New Mexico does is it takes that and it makes it a middle-class program. So it's a little bit more like, think about financial aid when you're going to college. So you're still going to pay out of pocket, but there's going to be a subsidy that runs pretty much all the way through the middle class. And so that helps reduce out-of-pocket cost for families, that sticker price, that's super important. And the other piece we see employers talking about, and we see, again, both parties in Congress talking about this, are these flex plans. They're like HSAs. So can you put some money away? Can my employer contribute? Do a matching program for me? And then that helps me with my out-of-pocket costs. So you're reducing the sticker price. You're bringing the employers in to help reduce the cost. You're stabilizing the field with these direct payments. And you start to build the foundations of a more sustainable system.
Ultimately, this is both the states and private sector have to partner on this, right? Because one's not going to figure it out.
Totally. So historically, childcare is an essential good, right? It's like grocery stores and housing. It's the things that people need, as opposed to like a public good, like schools. Now, there was a time when we had one-room schoolhouses and we built the modern school district. The question people are struggling with is not, should we do anything on childcare? It's what should we do about childcare? And there's a version of this where it becomes more and more public. That's what 4-year-old kindergarten is. If people talk about 3K, attaching childcare to schools and to technical colleges, that is a shift towards a more public system. But childcare is also a small business infrastructure. It's one of the 3 largest women-owned business sectors in Wisconsin, beauty salons, restaurants, and childcare. And so it's an economic engine for a lot of families, and it's part of a whole infrastructure of how we do this. So the ways that you support an essential good look a little different than how you support a public good. And that's why these sort of hybrid approaches, these subsidy programs, these direct payments, and these flex plans can help support that existing infrastructure better.
So one of the other things that's been suggested is loosening regulations, which, whether it's how many children one provider can watch over. Right now, for an infant under 1, it's 1 to 4.
Right.
And then it goes up 1 to 6, 1 to 8, whatever. And then also conversations around like letting 16-year-olds be in the centers, which I'm like, why aren't they in school right now? But that's a different conversation. Where does either you personally, or at least where does DCF fall as far as what regulations is the sweet spot as far as quality care and making sure everyone's safe while also lessening the burden of, it costs money to be able to pay these people. They don't make a lot of money.
And they're not making a lot of money is a big thing. Those childcare, those direct payments really went to wages for staff, and that's a big deal. People are making $13 to $16 an hour. It's not a livable wage. They're automatically eligible
to be very skilled people who do the job that I don't know if I could spend all day with my
I don't
toddler.
have the patience for it.
I can't do it. The pandemic taught me very clearly I cannot teach my own kids. But I think when you think about these regulatory issues, there are reasonable things we could do. So the conversation around 16-year-olds with supervision, so that was a big thing, does have to be a supervisor, and frankly is more common in after-school programs and summer programs, right? And so like my kid goes to the YMCA after school and goes to summer camp there. Do I think a 16-year-old can help supervise kids that are 4 to 7 to 12? Yeah, I mean, that feels more reasonable. We do have high school and college kids who basically intern in childcare. I've seen it with supervision in a room as long as there's another adult. I don't think that that's unreasonable, but that supervision thing was a really key component of the conversation. The ratio piece, nobody wants to touch infants because infant ratios are pretty standard across the country, and it's the most sensitive time. As the kids get older, in family care, we saw this, a lot of conversations about, could I have a kid drop in after school? The older brother wants to come. I got the younger kid. Could we have some flexibility here? Those things start to feel fairly reasonable. What I'm hearing from providers, and this is all structured as a pilot in the budget, is that the older ages, they're allowing them to go 1 to 7. And what I hear from providers is that's too loose. We're not really going to go that far. The national recommendations are at max 1 to 6. The thing about childcare that's a little different than school is you think about school has a teacher in front and kids in a classroom mostly all day for young kids, right? In childcare, it's a little more fluid. People can sometimes move in and out. They cover. You got nap time. You got lunch. So what I think is people are making responsible decisions with tighter ratios. Probably a little too far in the budget. I think you're going to see that come back next session.
Fascinating conversation. Jeff Pirtle, he is the DCF Secretary for State of Wisconsin, Department of Children and Families. We'll have a lot more conversations on this because this problem is not going away. And I just look back to my history. We paid a couple $100 a month for 2 kids in the late 80s.
God, he also paid $50 in rent.
It's cheaper to send your kids to college than to childcare.
The negative means I'm old. So pluses and minuses. Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate you having me on. Happy to come back anytime.
Quick break.
As the fall season sets in, I highly recommend dining at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club near Holy Hill. Enjoy a free dinner, WTMJ's John Mercure with you. The drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is spectacular. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free 7 nights a week. No coupons, no gimmicks. You're not going to find this free dinner offer anywhere else but my favorite place, the Fox and Hounds. Enjoy your favorite steak, seafood, roast duck, pasta, the steak and lobster even. Any entree, your second dinner is free. Best part, desserts are also buy one, get one free. That chocolate cake is amazing. Wine down with an old-fashioned. Choose from over 20 bourbons, 100 wines, 8 beautiful dining rooms. It's incredible. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill. It's one of the most beautiful fall drives in Wisconsin. Wednesday, buy one prime rib dinner, get one free. Enjoy a quiet free dinner tonight, serving from 4 p.m. Tables are open. Fox and Hounds Restaurant.
We see you out there making the most of every moment, one big bright idea at a time. At Blaine's, we're glad to be part of it by offering best-in-class products and solutions at unbeatable farm and fleet prices. Like all pairs of Skechers, buy one, get one half price. $10 off men's Northside waterproof hiking boots. And all men's and women's Carhartt non-denim work pants, 20% off. Plus, we offer Blaine's Best Price Promise, guaranteeing you the lowest price with us or we'll match it. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
You have never been to an all-inclusive resort? Well, neither have I. Hi, it's WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi, and this winter, we're going to rectify that. My wife, Kathy, and I have teamed up with Fox World Travel to check another travel wish item off our list, and you are invited to join us. We'll be flying nonstop from Milwaukee to sunny Cancun and staying at the ultra-chic luxury resort Secrets the Vine. This adults-only all-inclusive resort offers unlimited luxury where so much is included. Best-in-class service, gourmet a la carte restaurants, top-shelf drinks, 24-hour room and concierge service, endless day and nighttime activities, and more. Come with us, soak up the sun on the beach or one of 3 sparkling infinity pools. Enjoy sommelier-led wine tasting or explore the Cancun area. You know my trips sell out fast, so if you want more information about the February festivities, contact a travel advisor at Fox by calling 866-GO-FOX-GO or their fabulous website, foxworldtravel.com.
Imagine that unbelievable new deck in your backyard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech deck builder. Building new decks and replacing old ones, creating that $1 million feeling every time you relax in your own backyard. Looking for a company to make your backyard scream wow? Stop by Outdoor Living Unlimited's resourceful Waukesha showroom and visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
You know what's coming up next, Kristin?
Ooh, I feel like we haven't done. Did we do Ask Us Anything last week?
We did a quick one last week. Ask us anything. Any questions, fair game. 855-616-1620. And if you heard my trip thing, 866-GO-FOX-GO. Don't wait. It's going to sell out. Cancun.
All right. Ask us anything.
Yeah, any questions, fair game.
Start texting them in, 855-616-1620.
Epstein, National Guard, AI, childcare.
Packers. What else did we talk
Thoughts
about
on
today?
anything, really. Yeah.
What did we start with today? This is how bad
National
my memory
Guard.
is.
National Guard. Street takeovers. Thoughts on street takeovers. Questions on street takeovers.
Have you ever been part of a street takeover?
Have you ever been? Those are all questions we're going to answer after you ask us in the next half hour. 855-616-1620, the Saudi Unlimited, WTMJ Talk and Text line. Love the show today. Good information, especially on the child care thing. That one will go away. And local news, before we get to that, the latest now from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. President Trump is now responding to a new bipartisan push to have the Department of Justice release the entirety of the information it has on sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein. Speaking about the files that have already been released.
I think it's enough because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever.
It comes as survivors of Epstein hold a press conference on the steps of the Capitol. Epstein died by suicide in a New York City jail cell back in 2019. Jasveen Sangha, the so-called ketamine queen, is set to plead guilty today for her role in selling actor Matthew Perry fatal doses of ketamine ahead of his death in 2023. Sangha could face 45 years in federal prison. And a New York judge is admitting new DNA evidence in the case of Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Connie Weber. Judge Hannah Dugan will not be required to appear before Judge Lynn Edelman, but her legal team will be back at the federal courthouse in Milwaukee this morning. Dugan was federally indicted in May, charged with preventing ICE agents from apprehending Eduardo Flores Ruiz at the Milwaukee County Courthouse in April. Her legal team could either appeal the case or begin preparing for trial. All 4 former hotel employees charged in the death of a man outside a downtown Milwaukee hotel last year will learn their fate today. Todd Erickson, Devin Johnson Carson, Herbert Williamson, and Brandon Turner were all arrested after surveillance video surfaced showing 4 men on top of Devontae Mitchell while he pleaded for help at the Hyatt Regency in June of 2024. Erickson and Turner face up to 15 years in prison each. Johnson, Carson, and Williamson face up to 9 months in jail. Milwaukee police investigating a murder that happened downtown Tuesday night. 62-year-old victim suffered blunt force trauma injuries, died at the scene. It happened around 9 p.m. at 6th and Clybourne. Nobody in custody. Time now for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow down 185 points, 45,110. NASDAQ up 202 at 21,482. S&P 500 up 20 at 6,436. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-43 south, almost a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 60. Right shoulder there was blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Looks like that has been cleared off. Disabled vehicle I-41 south at the ramp from Verli. Left shoulder is blocked. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Showers likely today. Cloudy, breezy, high 70. Gradual clearing tonight. Lows 47, lakeside 43 inland. Sunny tomorrow, then increasing cloudiness and a chance of overnight showers. A high Thursday 65. Partly cloudy, cool and windy Friday with a high 63. Sunny weekend ahead. Saturday and Sunday, sunshine. Highs both days 64. 65 in Madison, 63 in Green Bay, 66 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
We've got big rewards in store for Fleet Farm shoppers at our Buy More, Earn More event. August 28th through September 3rd, Fleet Rewards members will enjoy extra rewards on all qualifying purchases. Earn $10 when you spend $100, earn $25 when you spend $250, and earn $50 in rewards when you spend $350 at Fleet Farm. Membership's free. Sign up in-store or online. Then stock up to get extra rewards while you can at Fleet Farm's Buy More, Earn More event. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Make your next family trip one for the history books at Old World, Wisconsin. Set against the natural beauty of the Kettle Moraine State Forest, you'll enter a one-of-a-kind place where the modern world fades away. Explore authentically restored homes, farms, stores, and workshops representing more than a century of Wisconsin history. Meet heritage farm animals, visit a one-room schoolhouse, lend a hand in the blacksmith shop, ride a high-wheel bicycle, and so much more. Travel through time and the stories of America's heartland. Get your tickets at oldworldwisconsin.wisconsinhistory.org.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's 4 walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Now it's time for Ask Us Anything on Point Taken. Got a burning question? Give us a call or text on the Siding Unlimited Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620.
I'm always excited about this segment because I love answering questions. I love engaging with the audience, the fans of the show. Let's do a fun one first. This is from the 414 on the text line, the Siding Unlimited WTMJ Talk and Text line. What are some of your favorite fiction authors and books? I'm not reading a lot of fiction, but I don't read a lot of fiction. So for me, Patricia Cornwell, I just looked on my bookcase, I have like 4 or 5 of her Case Scarpetta novels, which is a forensic examiner Basically, that's what she did. Murder mysteries.
Okay.
Awesome. I've interviewed him for my podcast, James Patterson, one of the most prolific.
You interviewed James Patterson?
I did,
How was
yeah.
that conversation?
Awesome. It was one of the best It's still on my podcast page. You can find it at Scaffidi at WTMJ.com or wherever you get your podcast. He was fascinating. He talked about writing. He talked about golf, which he's a big fan of. Talked about sort of retirement, what's coming next, so you can still find that one. And then, obviously, Stephen King. I probably had, 15 to 20 of his books at one point when I had more books in my collection. So that's my three. I mean, you don't read a lot of fiction?
No.
Okay. It's not a bad thing.
No, I don't know. I should read more fiction. I should certainly read more fiction before I go to bed instead of trying to read nonfiction.
Yeah.
My favorite book of all time is The Sun Also Rises, which is Hemingway.
Yeah, Ernest Hemingway. I've read all this stuff. Yeah.
And so that still, I mean, but yeah. And this is what I always go back and forth when it's like to decide to start to read more novels because there's so many recommendations. What do you start with as far as do you go back and try to read some of the classics that you never read? Like I just made a joke with someone on the text line as far as she would, at one point when she worked in childcare, or he, I'm assuming it's a she, but I don't know. She did 1 to 10 and it was all 3-year-olds. I go, well, that sounds like Lord of the Flies.
Right.
But I actually never read Lord of the Flies. So there's still like a lot, of the classics that I haven't read. So it's like going back and checking off, the 100 best novels of the 20th century, or do I start with the best books this year and recommendations. And so then, like, whenever there's too many choices, I get overwhelmed and then I just start scrolling on my phone.
So people always ask me for book recommendations. I read a lot of nonfiction now. And there's the one that I found out that we shared, our love of Guns, Germs, and Steel.
Oh, yeah, that is a great book.
Jared Diamond won the Pulitzer. It's about 3 inches thick. You're going to spend a lot of time reading it, but it's a brilliant book written about probably 20 years ago now.
Was it like 2000? Yeah, it probably was around 2005.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but it still holds up. And a texter just told me that, or emailer told me that they just finished it and it was outstanding. This suggestion came to me from a listener, and I'm actually going to do this. The Iliad and the Odyssey.
Abridged or not abridged?
That's a good question. That's a lot of reading.
They're doing a new movie.
Yes.
The new Odyssey's coming out next year.
Matt Damon, isn't he in it? I think so.
Is he playing?
I don't know who he's playing. But they said that's a good sort of reintroduction to the history of the world and what happened.
I'm blanking on the protagonist's name in the Iliad and Odyssey.
I don't know. But that's one idea. I would suggest, and I'm reading a lot of AI books now, anything from Karen Howe's Empire of AI. I would suggest reading is the way to go because I've taken most of my TV time and moved it into reading hardcover or softcover books. Not online, holding a book in my hand. That's, for me, that works. And it relaxes me. And real quick, although they didn't ask, and I threw this at you, Bill and Joe, last night, I have gotten this habit the last couple of weeks of watching old Nova episodes. Nova is a brilliant television show, always has been. And they cover everything, science, culture, everything, in depth with excruciating detail, but you learn something. From ancient man to sinkholes in the Arctic to the AI revolution, which I watched last night. It's like reading a book every night. You will learn.
Nova?
Nova, PBS.
Okay.
Yes. Discover it.
Is it going to get defunded now?
I don't know. Good question.
Are you ready to feel really dumb?
Do I want to feel really dumb?
Yeah. The protagonist in the Odyssey is Odysseus.
Doesn't that make sense?
I was like, why am I? Because I was going to say something. I was like, that's not. I don't think that's how you pronounce this. But yes. So.
Real quick, before we go to break here, how do we think the Packers will do this season? Well, you have an event tomorrow night. You'll be talking.
I know.
About
if
that.
you want to come, talk to or listen, ask questions of, and listen to the Packers coverage team from Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. So Tom Silverstein, Pete Doherty, Dominic Yates, Ryan Wood will not be there. I will be there. I'm saying you probably don't want to hear from me talk about the Packers, but that is tomorrow. If you text Packers to 855-616-1620, it's a free event. You just have to RSVP at the Eventbrite link that we will text you.
And I will be doing pregame coverage, at least the first hour and a half, 3 hours prior to the start of the Packers games with our teammates at ESPN 94.5, sometimes simulcast on 620 WTMJ. For all the home games this year, I did it the last couple of years, absolutely enjoyed. I think the Packers will be surprisingly good. I'm biased.
I think so. I mean, I think everyone's very excited about Micah Parsons.
Yeah, that's the big acquisition, the best acquisition.
You think will be the same impact as Reggie White?
God, I hope so.
The comparison's there, but do you think you think it's all hype?
No. He's good. And
I know he's good, but I'm saying, is he Reggie White good?
I hope so. I got to watch Reggie White play lots of times in Lambeau Field, and it's one of the thrills of my life, and he was an amazing football player. He could pick up 275-pound guys and throw them like they weighed 50 pounds. That's how good he was. Will Micah Parsons be that guy? I hope so. Lots of great questions. We'll get to a lot more of them. Nova is great. Thanks for that text. After this on 620 WTMJ.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for QC Kinetics. Somebody asked me, how's that going? I'll tell you how it's going. So I had elbow pain, elbow strain, probably a tear. I can now open a door, which used to cause me excruciating pain, just twisting a doorknob with no pain. When it's relaxed, zero pain. And still almost to the point of where it was before without surgery, without meds. I just talked to Dr. Ashley Caravelli and Stephanie, one of my great teammates there at QC Kinetics, about my next appointment, which is tomorrow, and how good I feel right now, and I have 2 treatments left. It's a game changer. And if you want to try something different other than surgery and that long recovery or getting hooked on meds and all that stuff, the cost of medicine, this is a way, using your own body's healing powers, to sort of transform your experience, get rid of your pain. You can even bring your MRI, X-rays if you have those. Make sure you're a good candidate. Bottom line, you'll learn something about yourself. Do what I did. Call QC Kinetics today. 414-285-3474. One more time. 414-285-3474. Works for me. It will work for you.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Love cutting your lawn or raking leaves? Yeah, right. Well, if you lived in a brand new Cornerstone development community, someone else handles those duties. Buy a brand new home in the Grove in River Hills, the Glen at Stonewall Farms in Grafton, the Glen at Standing Stone in Waukesha, or the Glen at Wanakee in Menominee Falls, and they take care of the maintenance. All built with your selection of finishes. If you downsize, there's a clubhouse for when you temporarily need to upsize. Take a virtual tour and see for yourself at cornerstonedevelopment.com.
It's Ask Us Anything on Hump Day Wednesday, even though it's not actually a hump day. On Point Taken, I'm Kristin. He's Steve. Do you have a thought on one of the questions we got was, how would you handle street takeovers?
I would have a rapid response team. Now, this is always challenging because we don't have enough police officers to begin with, but I would certainly make this a priority in the near term, where as soon as we get the first call, we have a group of individuals and cars that are on scene. Obviously, these things are always going to be a priority-based system, right? Because what do we know about Milwaukee? There's always things to do. If you're a police officer, public safety, you never run out of things to do.
You're not getting a lot of tickets for jaywalking in Milwaukee.
No, that's not one of the high priorities.
It's not one of the high priorities.
Burglary, thefts, all the, violent crimes, all the things that we unfortunately have to talk about. But that's how I would do it. In the short term, that can help. You're never going to alleviate it. People are going to do what they're going to do.
Is there anything you would be doing that they're not doing?
Well, rapid response team, I don't believe they're doing that.
They're
handling with
they're having a
calls.
task force as far as monitoring social media and trying to, because one of the things I guess Chief Norman said is that once there's hundreds of people there, it's not like there's hundreds of cops that can show up, and so they have to work smart.
I've talked
smarter.
to cops. I've talked to cops about this issue as recently as yesterday. There's a manpower issue.
Yeah.
Men and women, not enough of them doing that job. That's ultimately you're gonna have to figure it out, and hopefully this isn't something that's like a legacy going forward that we're going to be dealing with this over and over again because things change in law enforcement. Somebody asked about Nova. It's on YouTube. Somebody said they just watch YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. So if you have YouTube TV or if you have a smart TV, you can find YouTube just by going to YouTube and search anything and just search Nova and you'll find all the shows.
Probably can go to PBS's website. Too.
Absolutely. Yeah, probably. Although they might charge you. Let's see. PBS, they might charge you for the access to something.
Maybe now they will.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're running out of money, apparently.
That was my article today for Journal Sentinel.
Oh.
It's about PragerU.
How do folks?
Are you familiar with PragerU?
Yeah. How do folks find it?
They can go to the Journal Sentinel, jsonline.com.
Yeah.
I have not set it up to.
What was your take, if you want to give it away?
So PragerU, you are familiar with PragerU.
Dennis Prager?
Yes.
Yes.
So I came across PragerU back into like 2017 when I first started making content because I had a YouTube channel and I would do research on different topics and sometimes their YouTube videos would pop up and pretty quickly I would realize like, oh, this is a conservative education channel.
Yeah.
And, they're like a lot of nonprofit media companies, they have a specific angle. They are pro-America. They are conservative. But they are not, despite the name being PragerU and the U standing for university, they are not an accredited education at all. And so, but now in the, with the pulling of funding from PBS and PBS Kids, which is like very researched and actually backed by, Department of Education research as far as how it helps with literacy and math. There was also PBS Learning Media, which gives teaching lessons and curriculum to teachers that has also been accredited and approved. What's not known is how much that will start to disappear because of a lack of funding and how much it opens the door. Like 10 states already allow for PragerU curriculum to be shown in classrooms, despite it not being accredited. Wisconsin is not one of those 10 states, and it's not mandatory. It's just allowed. And then also PragerU helped develop the teacher exam that Oklahoma is now doing, which we have talked about. And I don't know if you know this, they ran a full-page New York Times ad with 34 of the questions on Sunday of this week. And so it is more of kind of this week's article is a little bit more of a warning sign of like, you were blaming teachers for indoctrinating your children, and now we are opening the door for Dennis Prager, who has literally said on record, what's wrong with our indoctrination?
Because it's the right kind of indoctrination. I use right on purpose. Texter says, I'll take them for their word, at their word, PBS is $5 a month for the subscription service.
Oh.
For access to a lot of their shows.
There you go.
Somebody said this, Kristin, I saw the video of you eating cream puffs at State Fair.
Okay.
And it seemed like you thought you won for a few seconds there.
I did.
You did win.
I didn't see Radar's plate, but I was waiting for Dario to call it because I thought I was done.
You stopped.
I stopped and then I came up for air and then a fair amount of cream came out of my mouth.
Do you think the fix was in?
I'm not here to stir the pot. I will just come back next year and win. Although I'm not doing it for 17 years. I'll go back. If they invite me back next year, I'll do it one more year and hopefully win.
I think Dario thinks these are Emmys or something like that. He's got like a shelf full of them. Jeez, like how many? After you win one, what's like the point of it?
You got to defend the crown.
He's a good guy, though. Well, I'm not going to give him grief. I mean, he's obviously good at it. I mean, he's probably won more than anybody in the history of the State Fair.
Probably.
That's one thing. Somebody asked me about State Fair the other day. Like, do you enjoy being? I love the State
Fair.
The shows are better. It's dynamic. You got people we talk to during the breaks or after the show. There's stuff to do. The food's amazing. We did a bunch of video work, more video work than I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
People commented to me on that. Yeah.
All right. What's your next question?
What are you going to bring back? Spinning the states.
Do you want to bring that back?
For fun, yeah.
We could do it like once a week.
No, that's too often. Once a month, maybe.
There's stories all over the state.
Yeah, I think we could probably figure something out. I always liked it, especially when I did it.
We could maybe call it something else. We could find some interesting stories, Wisconsin stories, and run through the headlines.
We could just do that,
like
not
that.
call it anything. Because there's interesting stories happening in Wisconsin all the time.
Your ChatGPT buddy might be able to come up with a quippy name, though.
It's Pi.
What's Pi?
Inflection AI, and my assistant is Pi, P-I.
Did you name them that?
No, that's what they call it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't that impressed. Just because there's a backstory. I'm sampling all the free all the different AI tools. They're kind of all the same. Some are more engaging than others. I was disappointed with Inflection AIs, and I'm not a spokesperson or not trying to put the hex on them, but a lot of insufficient answers. I asked the same questions of all of them. I even created a haiku.
You gave me my haiku yesterday.
Yeah, read it real quick before we go to break.
All right, let's find.
That's one of the challenges I do for each of these things.
So what was your prompt?
Write me a haiku for my radio co-host Kristin Brey. And they said
that was it. So you didn't give them any other information about me?
Nope.
From stage to radio, Kristin's voice spans Wisconsin. Laughter, insight, growth.
That's pretty good.
You didn't give them any other information about me?
That's it. One line. They have access to everything on the internet. You're all over the internet. Trust me. Good and bad.
You didn't give them any more information about me.
That's
what
what
they came up with?
Them. Write a haiku about my radio co-host, Kristin Brey. Actually, I said 620 WTMJ at the end of that. One sentence. That's what they created. I'm going to have that embroidered on a pillow, and I'm going to give it to you for your birthday next year.
Laughter, insight, growth. Should I get that as a tattoo?
There you go. That's not my tattoo. That's yours. Quick break.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments. Behind the Bucks is Bucks history, like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. I've told the story before. When you're in trouble at your home and you had damage from hail or other damage from a sort of a natural disaster, storm, whatever it is, well, Loyal Family Renovations saved the day for me. We had a brutal storm last year, 2024, in Oak Creek. Hail damage, I had a lot of it. I had a roof problem. Jeff, Jake, the whole team, absolute pros, by the way, made the entire process smooth as possible. They worked with my insurance company. That's a big one. That's a separator for them. They are really good at that, Jeff and Jake and their whole team. They know how to deal with the adjusters, and that's how these things work. Quick answers, top-notch customer service, and in just 2 days, I had a complete tear-off and a brand-new roof. I had 2 additions on my house that had different ages of the roofs, all replaced, all fully warranted, even picked up every last nail. So impressed, I told my whole neighborhood about it. If storm damage hits you, call the team, and they are a team. That made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Fredert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin, so there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit fredert.com/cancer.
Steinhafels has extended their Labor Day sale and they're celebrating the Packers. Save 10% off store-wide and score a $100 Packers gift card when you spend over $1,999. Steinhafels, proud partner of the Green Bay Packers. Shop in-store or at steinhafels.com.
Imagine that unbelievable new deck in your backyard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech deck builder, Building new decks and replacing old ones, creating that $1 million feeling every time you relax in your own backyard. Looking for a company to make your backyard scream wow? Stop by Outdoor Living Unlimited's resourceful Waukesha showroom and visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Where did that time go? 2 hours up already? Kristin, Brey, Steve Scaffidi. Somebody said I talk over Kristin. We do the best we can. We're both very passionate about the topics that we address, and sometimes
Well, some people think I talk over you.
Yeah, so I'm not going to worry. Let's talk about.
Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure you have an undiagnosed case of ADHD.
Okay, that's something you probably shouldn't say on the radio with HR present.
But I mean, I know that I have ADHD because I think we both get very excited about
We do.
the thing that we're about to say. And so sometimes we're not always good at waiting our turn. But because we're such good friends, neither of us takes it that seriously when the other person jumps in. And honestly, if the other person has something more interesting to say, they should probably get to go.
Right. I don't sweat any of that. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with a whole new show. Kristin, Steve, Point Taken. News is next.
I'm John Mercure with Dr. Jesse Bowens, an orthopedic hip and knee surgeon.